Okay, I did miss this before. Alright, there's the luxury ball. Now people can stop nagging me about that. Something that I hadn't realized, though, if you come back and talk to this guy, he actually will comment that you got the snack machine back, which is a pretty nice touch. Also, TV people, huh? Yeah, I saw these people coming in, but I left talking to them until I was actually recording. So, yeah, there's a TV crew here now. And it's yet again the person with the idiotic name. What are you excited about, exactly? Maybe? Well then, I'll leave her to live out her fantasies, which are quite strange fantasies, but anyway. So yeah, yet another one of those details where, surprisingly, a lot changes in earlier areas if you go back to them. It's kinda cool. But anyway, welcome back to Pokemon XD. Last time we finally, well actually, we finally beat Justy. Last time in the main story we got our snag machine back, but we did a bunch of side quests. This time, yep, we're going to be heading out to the Cipher Key Lair, and I have made sure to prepare a lot of Pokeballs in advance. So yeah, I bought more Ultra Balls, I have some Net Balls, because there are going to be quite a few Bug and Water types coming up. And make sure you have a lot of them going into this next area. Also, I have got rid of all of my Pokesnacks in all 3 of the Pokespots, just so that I don't get interrupted by the spot monitor. Anyway, now it's time for real to finally take on the Cipher Key Lair. And clean up a loose end that's been dangling for a long time. Yep, this guy. It's time we finally settle things with, as one commenter fantastically pointed out, less interesting Groose once and for all. So, if I remember right, Zook's team has barely changed since we last fought him, but my team has changed quite a lot. And I no longer need to one-shot the Zangoose with Mach Punch, so I think I can safely go ahead and switch to... actually, let's go ahead and use Orson. So, let's go, Zook, one last time. Well, this was Zook's fatal mistake, because this is the time when we're going to finally snag his Shadow Pokemon. Hopefully. I really hope I don't eat my words there. But yeah, this guy really is a well, not slightly, a considerably less interesting Groose now that I think about it. Of course, he predates Groose by a very long time. And yeah, once again, it's a Shadow Pokemon. Now, let me just quickly check something. Is it still... oh, it's still male. Okay, so, funny thing about this Zangoose, its gender is not set in stone until the encounter where you can actually catch it. So, it is possible for Zangoose to be one gender at Gate and Port, and then suddenly switch genders now. It's pretty weird, but it happens sometimes. I guess I lucked out. It turns out this Zangoose ended up being male all 3 times. But anyway, let's see. Do I go for the Helping Hand or do I just go for Icy Wind? I think I'll just go for Icy Wind, because this is not only going to weaken the Zangoose a little bit, it's also going to debilitate its speed. Now, Zangoose does hit pretty hard. I've said that before, but I'll say it again. Oh, hey, I didn't even need the Helping Hand, so I'm glad I didn't go for that. Yeah, Return coming from Ursaring is pretty insanely powerful. Hi there, Kavana. I no longer can Mirror Match you, because I have a Sharpedo now. Yeah, that's pretty tiny. Duskull's offense is pretty non-existent, although, yeah, Kavana's defense as being terrible means that it's going to take quite a bit of damage to that. But as you can see, his levels have not changed very much since we last fought him. So... what do I do here? I think I'll just keep... because I can't even use Shadow Ball. I know I'm going to trip Rough Skin like this, but there's no way I wouldn't, so I'm going to have to take the risk. Rough Skin can be annoying sometimes. You know what? I feel like a complete moron, but here's just a random story. It took me ages to realize that Iron Barbs is an exact clone of Rough Skin in terms of abilities. Yeah, I feel like a moron for that, but it's true. I just didn't realize for the longest time that Ferroseed and Ferrothorn's Iron Barbs was an exact clone of Rough Skin. But yeah, finally Rough Skin on something actually defensive. Although, admittedly, Garchomp did get Rough Skin too, and, well, that's another story entirely. I could send Lyra in, but one, I don't want to send Lyra right into a Shadow Rush, and two, I don't want to send Lyra right into a Bite, but I guess I can try. Of course, this leaves Duskull to barely do anything. You know what, let's see if I luck out here. Could go for my Luxury Ball, but... Hey, I just realized, yeah, the Luxury Ball. In fact, can you buy those at this point? I forget, but, I mean, you probably can. One. Yeah, I had a feeling. Yeah, that was not going to catch. But yeah, there is, from my knowledge, exactly one Pokemon in this game that you want to snag with a Luxury Ball. For the most part, they're not necessary. They look pretty cool, though. It'd be funny if Survivor gets a Fluke Poison on me. Well, a Fluke attack that would have poisoned, were it not for the fact that I have immunity now, basically. Although, if you do hit Lyra's... No! Lyra's not going to faint, actually, so immunity probably did help, because with my luck, I have a very good feeling that would have poisoned, and that would have spelled the end of Lyra, so I'm glad for that. Do I keep Icy Winding? I forget what his last... What was his last Pokemon? Oh, no, his last Pokemon was Relicanth, so... I suppose I can aim a Confuse Ray at that slot and just see if that works. Really, I just have Duskull out here because I... Actually, now that I think about it, I have a nickname plan for this Duskull. I probably should go ahead and do that. Just remembered. But yeah, I mainly have Duskull here to get more experience because, yeah, I won't evolve until level 37. In fact, I should probably give her the experience share. Oh, I saw that one coming. Sorry, Lyra. I mean, it's not like this is a Nuzlocke or anything. Kind of curious to see if anyone actually has Nuzlocked Colosseum or XD. I know that in terms of encounter rules, it's pretty much impossible because the encounters are all fixed regardless. But, I don't know, you can make it so that you can only use, like, one Shadow Pokemon per area. Like, you have to pick one or either, like, randomize which one you get to use. But I don't know. I mean, again, I'm personally... Well, not again, because I haven't actually said this in this series before, but I'm personally not into Nuzlocks very much, but to people who are, I want to know how they're handled in Colosseum and XD. That was pretty nice, actually. Definitely revenge for how annoying that Relicanth was last time. And he's still going for Rock Tomb. Please hit Ricky, because the speed drop is going to do nothing. Good, because, yeah, I was going to Mach Punch you anyway. It's kind of funny that, yes, I now have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as of recording this, and there is actually a move called... Well, actually, it's Mach Straight Punch, but I still... Actually, no, wait, no, those like, lobster enemies use, an attack that's literally called Mach Punch, so I found that kind of funny. Let's see what I do here. Kind of feel like using your turn just to heal, because I really don't have much better to do. Yeah, I think I restocked my Moo Moo Milks relatively recently also. No, I will not use the Focus Man in the middle of a battle. That would be kind of silly. It'd be kind of funny if it did have an in-battle use. Probably more useful than its actual Held item use. Except for the AI, when it activates all the time. Stupid hacks items. Okay, well, I was gonna paralyze you anyway, so that saves me the trouble. What will I do here? I'm just gonna go and probably switch out for you, and then I might just Icy Wind you again. And so begins the annoying process of, having to whittle this thing down. I'm so glad that Zangoose doesn't have Guts. I mean, it'd probably love Guts as an ability, but it does not have it. Thankfully. I mean, I was kind of saving this for the bio, but I really like Zangoose as a Pokemon. It doesn't... Ow. Well, I mean, Flareon's physical defense is not that good, but still. I mean, obviously I'm not going to Fire Blast it, but I am slightly worried about using Quick Attack. Let's see how this goes. The annoying thing about weakening normal types is that normal types have, nothing they're resistant to, apart from Ghost, which they're outright immune to. So it's hard to intentionally do bad damage. 1, 2... No! I was about to say 3 there, but I didn't quite make it. Oh, please don't critical. That did less than I expected. I'm glad for that, except Flareon is probably going to go down now. Or not, because of the paralysis. I don't want to speak too soon, but I don't think even a critical would take it down now. I'm just going to go for a Great Ball, because I don't want to waste too many Ultra Balls. Saving those for the admin fight at the end of this place, which is going to be probably a pain. 1, 2. Nope. It'd be funny if a worse Pokeball caught it, but didn't get it that time. Oh, right. I think all I'll do now is just Icy Wind, because I don't want to risk a critical anymore. I do like this Zangoose as a Shadow Pokemon, though. The fact that it's been built up for so long, and now you've finally got a chance to actually snag it. That was a bad idea. I just realized, because rough skin. In fact, in this case, I am not going to... I could just protect... But no, what I'm going to do here is actually, I will use a Great Ball. And I'll just call you, because I don't want to actually... I mean, I know that an Icy Wind and a Rough Skin damage is not going to KO it, but I want to limit myself to one form of damage per turn. 1, 2, 3. Zangoose gets! It might not seem like it now thanks to the power creep, but Zangoose was actually one of the most threatening physical attackers in Gen 3. Combining great attack, decent speed, and a fairly decent move pool by Gen 3 physical attacker standards. Of course, it is kind of fragile, but what else would you expect from a sweeper? This Zangoose will regain Brick Break on Purification, which means you won't need to use the TM to teach it. It's a pretty decent physical option for Zangoose. You'll also get Crush Claw. Now, the decision between whether to keep this or teach Return is kind of a personal one. Crush Claw is a lot weaker than a maxed out Return, only 75 power, but it does have a 50% chance of lowering the target's defense, meaning that repeated Crush Claws can end up doing a lot of damage. If you do plan on using this Zangoose, I would highly recommend going back to Mount Battle and teaching Swords Dance via the move relearner. Swords Dance is actually a fairly unique asset of Zangoose in this game, because Swords Dance is not a TM in Gen 3, and XD lacks the Swords Dance move tutor. It's a fantastic move for Zangoose. You could also reteach Quick Attack too if you want some priority. You do eventually learn False Swipe at level 55, but at that point, there's really not many Shadow Pokemon left to snag. As far as TM moves go, I would highly recommend Shadow Ball. It has perfect coverage along with Brick Break, and it helps in defeating those ghost types that completely null your normal moves. There's also Aerial Ace if you want an option to handle fighting types. As far as tutor moves go, Zangoose gets a couple of really weird ones. Though firstly, I should say, Double Edge is highly recommended if you want a lot of power. Zangoose makes great use of that. But you also have Icy Wind and Thunder Wave. Personally, I wouldn't recommend Icy Wind on Zangoose, but Thunder Wave can be a decent option sometimes. Speaking of unconventional options, Zangoose also gets Flamethrower via TM, and although your special attack isn't very good, sometimes this can help you break through steel types. This Zangoose also comes with a Silk Scarf to raise the power of its normal moves, but one of its biggest weaknesses is it's stuck with one of the worst XD exclusive moves in the game, Refresh. Overall, if you want a physically attacking normal type, Zangoose is one of the best options you have. Definitely consider it. And with that, that is the last we'll ever see of Thug Zook. I believe that if you do knock... I just noticed he looks really sad here. But he kind of deserved it. I believe that if you do knock out the Zangoose this time, it will go to Mirror B. So, there's that. So, yeah. Zook is gone. Definitely goes to Mirror B now that he's pretty much said, screw this, I'm out of here, to the entire ORAD region. And, those thugs who were guarding this place aren't here anymore, so let's go. Oh, wait, they actually are here. I love the running animations, though. It's funny. Anyway. So, I guess we just have to battle them. Or... Actually, we can just go ahead and talk to them. I suppose saying yes isn't going to tip them off to exactly who we are. Well, I mean, except Seth was dumb and was like, oh yeah, I'm the guy who's defeating Cypher. Yeah, stupid. But looks like our new, well, I wouldn't call them allies, I'd call them more enemies of our enemies, are here to save the day. At least they know that, they know to respect our strength. That's actually a pretty good point. And it's really satisfying to see Wacken actually do this on your side for once. The actually smart grunt is working for you now. Kinda surprised that nobody else in the series has ever really thought to do this, using sleep powder on humans. So, yep, let's wreck Cypher. For now, though, I actually need to go back and heal. Let's wreck Cypher in a few minutes. Just give me a bit. Then we'll wreck Cypher. Alright, there's Zangoose having a silk scarf. I'll just take that, and I'll give that to Orson because I really have nothing better to give him. Where is that silk scarf? It should be here. There it is. Okay, here we go. Time to actually infiltrate the Cypher Key Lair. And as I've said before, this is one of my favorite locations in both games. I don't know why, I just really love the look of this place. And the fact that this is where things start getting really serious with Cypher. We're going to have the introduction of, well, not so much a new mechanic, but an expansion of another mechanic here. For the first time, things are going to get really intense. Also, look at all this stuff here. This looks pretty disturbing. If you talk to this guy, they're done with the Pokemon from SS Libra. Are the Pokemon inside these things, or are these things like the... Like, look at this, it goes through the light, and that thing in the middle lights up. Maybe that's the chemical they're using to turn them into Shadow Pokemon. Like, just look at these things. It just... Yeah, it is disturbing just thinking about, like, what goes into the process of creating Shadow Pokemon. Well, it's impressive, but, for horrific reasons. Okay, we have stairs there. There are lots of ceiling peons in this place. I should mention that I gave Duskull the Just realized I need to give you your new nickname. I'll be back in a bit again. The nickname that I decided to go with for my Duskull/Dusclops is Skahar, at least that's how the Persona characters pronounce it. There are a few reasons for this. It comes from the mentor of Cuchulainn in Celtic mythology, and the whole mentor thing works because of a helping hand move. She helps boost the power of her allies' attacks, so that sort of fits that kind of thing. Also, Skahar literally means the shadowy one, and that fits for a ghost type, and also a Pokemon that was formerly a shadow Pokemon. So, yeah, someone did suggest this name in the comments, and it's definitely the suggestion that I felt fit the most, so thank you for that. Anyway, time to head back to the lair. So we've been in the central part, and we've seen where the stairs are, but, yep, if we go this way, it's, ceiling peon. Also, it's just some kid. Aren't those the famous last words of every single grunt ever in any Pokemon game? So, it's battle time. Minun and Beautifly, not exactly the strongest Pokemon, and at the moment you might notice, the levels here might not be that amazing for the time being, but they'll definitely catch up by the time we hit the... Actually, the levels are pretty decent, but yeah. By the time we hit the boss, we should be around the level... Let me see. We should be around the level 35 to 36 mark. Now, let's see. Let's just crunch the Minun. There's no Plusle on the field, so this thing is not going to get the boost for its minus ability. Still, though, that did less damage than I expected it would. And I, for some reason, totally forgot that you had... What?! Okay, now, normally that would have been terrible, because Fish Slayer would have been hit, and that would have caused massive damage, but apparently, you're an idiot and didn't realize there was a water type on the field. I guess I can't really blame you, because back in Gen 3, Sharpedo just didn't even learn any water moves by level up. And hey, there's a level up. Ladian. Well, thankfully, we already got a Shadow Ladybug, so this can't be a Shadow Pokemon. That's a great thing to know. Let's just finish you off, and then, although your special defense is admittedly pretty decent, but I don't really care, you're still a pretty terrible Pokemon. Helping Hand. Helping Hand boosting the attacks of a Ladian. That puts your attack power up from Ladian to, I guess, Wurmple or Nosepass. Also, yeah, special defense is your only good move. Your only good stat, I mean. And you just don't understand type matchups at all, do you? But yeah, special defense is your best stat, and still I do that much because your HP is terrible. But yeah, you really need to go back to type matchup school. I'm a little worried about this experience share venture because I might be stifling the rest of my team's experience gain, but oh well. I suppose I'll just hit you with Return. Love how Sharpedo just bites the beam at them. If that verbiage makes any sense, but yeah, just like goes and then it just fires beam, and you're using a nice move too. Is it just like everyone attack the Bear Day or something? Because it seems like none of you want to attack the Sharpedo at all. I mean, I suppose the bear is the one doing the most damage to you, but anyway. That battle is now over. Like I said, you really need to go back to type matchup school. That's what they all say, but you're just a kid. Yeah, kids in the Pokemon universe are all incredibly overpowered. If you give a kid the ability to summon massively powerful creatures at will, obviously the fact that they're just a kid is not really going to matter very much. Let's see who else I can use. Already used Orson for a couple of battles. Lavertine hasn't had that much attention lately, and I guess Lyra fainted in the last battle, so I can use her. Let's see. More stairs here. Well, there was, but they just got sleep powdered. Scipion Hummer. Humana, I guess? Anyway. We have Seviper and Murkrow. And actually, I'll just Psychic the Seviper, and the Murkrow will go down to hopefully Fire Blast, like just about everything does. It's kind of a shame that I can't try out my new Shadow Ball here because you're resistant to it. You are the fastest thing on the field, though. That's interesting. But you're using that on Nightshade, which admittedly is doing alright damage, but still not exactly the best you could be doing. I feel like with Feint Attack, you'd probably do a little bit more. I mean, that's Feint Attack, which isn't even that great. But back in this gen, Feint Attack is one of the best Dark moves, considering that not many things get Crunch. Paris! Huh. We saw a Paris right at the beginning of the game. Now we'll finally get to use one for ourselves. It's a Shadow Paris. Oh, this reminds me of, very, very weird story when I was first playing this. This Paris, I don't know why, but when it first came out of its Pokeball, I was like, oh, look at it, it's a little Google bug. Probably because its eyes were all googly looking. And because of that, I was probably quite insane at this point. I then started calling Shadow Pokemon googly Pokemon, so this would be a googly dog. Yeah, I wasn't that young, I think I was a teenager at this point, and I was just kind of crazy at this point. But anyway, we have the introduction of 2 Shadow Pokemon on the field at once. This trainer has both a Shadow Paris and a Shadow Growlithe. So, 2 things to catch in one fight. Get used to that. It's gonna... yeah. From here on, this is gonna be pretty intense with the multiple Shadow Pokemon in a single battle thing. So, I suppose I can try and use Sing on one of them. Now, thankfully, Shadow Pokemon can't access their normal moves while they're Shadow, because that Paris does have Spore. Surprised that actually hit, but I guess it did. Okay, the Growlithe is asleep. Yeah, a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon here, and they suffer from reusing their Colosseum models, so they look pretty bad also. But Paris hopping like that is funny. I don't think I've seen a Paris do that before. Okay, let's just go for... I suppose I can Stun Spore you. then Lyra doesn't have much to do. I guess I can go for the Shockwave on the Paras when it's not very effective. Yeah, gotta watch out when weakening this Paras. Paras has a terrible typing. One of the worst type combinations in the entire series. Oh yeah. Oh, and I was about to say, oh yeah, Sing hits, but that misses. And then Sing is useless because you wake up in one turn anyway. Also, double Shadow Pokeball in the field also means that we suffer a lot of Shadow damage because we're going to have to deal with 2 super effective attacks a single turn. But let's see, I'm just going to see if Stun Spore will work this time, and Sing is likely not going to work twice, but I guess I can try. Nope, thought not. Really? I am not getting lucky with status moves here. And this is only the first Shadow Trainer in the entire place, if you don't count Zook. That does not bode well at all. That really doesn't bode well. Yeah, I am hurting quite badly. I'm going to go for the Stun Spore. I'm going to Stun Spore the Growlithe, because that one seems to be doing a bit more damage to me, and I'm going to go for... It's either switch Lyra and risk... You know what? I can't risk Ricky fainting. I'm going to have to use your turn to heal. I'm so sorry. That is 3 times in a row. Wow. And that has less accuracy than Fire Blast. And I hit with that like 16 times in a row. Because, yes, people were keeping track of that. So, yeah, my luck is pretty weird sometimes. Nothing else here really has status moves. I suppose I can just go for you for the weak damage. Don't want your level to get too out of control, though. Because by the time you are level 37, you'll be way too over-leveled, really, for these fights. But then again, you are more of a passive, non-attacking Pokemon, so I guess you being over-leveled wouldn't really be that big of a deal. Temptation to use Shadow Ball high, but I think I'll just go for... No, I won't, actually, because that's super effective on Paras, and even though my attacking stats are terrible, super effective usually means not good. Are you serious? That's 4 times in a row! This really doesn't bode well, does it? That also did more than I thought. Okay, I've got an idea. That Paras is a bug type. If I use a netball now, there is a chance that I might catch it. Okay, I'm going to go for the Stun Spore on the Growlithe, and on your turn, I'll be using a netball. Now, actually, wait, before I do this, let me show something regarding these fights. I'm going to go ahead and use the netball on Ricky's turn here. So I'll use that on the Paras. Now, what if I wanted to use another Pokeball? So, you can't use 2 Pokeballs in a single turn. Now, unlike stupid SOS battles, it's not like you can't aim while there are 2 Shadow Pokemon in the field, but you aren't able to throw a ball at both of them in the same turn, so just bear that in mind. Only 1 Snag Ball per turn. One, 2, 3. Paras get. You know what? I should have done that right from the start. This Paras right here is the one reason why you do not want to train the Shroomish from earlier in the game to level 54 to get Spore. Because long before you'll get there, you have access to this Shadow Paras and it already starts with Spore. Also, as it's purified, this Paras will regain False Swipe. And the Spore False Swipe combo is pretty much the only reason to ever consider using this Paras. As a Pokemon, Paras is pretty bad. Its typing makes it one of the few things unfortunate enough to have 2 quadruple weaknesses, flying and fire. And fun fact, in Gen 1 it was also quad weak to poison. Its stats aren't that good overall, it's very slow, not bulky enough to really make up for it, and has a decent attack stat, but very few physical moves to speak of in Generation 3. Its ability is also not that great. While it does learn some decent moves by level up, they're not until very, very high levels. By TM though, you do get Sludge Bomb and Aerial Ace, which are 2 of your only physical options, and you've got Double Edge by Move Tutor, I guess, though I wouldn't waste Double Edge on Parasect. Speaking of Parasect, this Paras will evolve after it gains 1 level on Purification, so you don't need to worry too much about that. But overall, its raw stats are not impressive, even on evolution. As I said, there is only one reason to use this Paras, the Spore False Swipe combo. But that one reason alone actually makes it a very valuable addition to your team if you want a catcher. It has no real competition for this role, because in order for Breloom to serve the same purpose, you'd need to keep it as a Shroomish until level 54, which obviously is a completely stupid idea. False Swipe is a fantastic move, a sleep move with 100% accuracy, the only one of its kind. And with False Swipe, you can weaken Pokemon too without worrying about knocking them out. When deciding whether or not to use this Paras, you need to think, is the Spore False Swipe combo worth using a fairly bad Pokemon for? The Breloom that's available far earlier in the game is a much better Pokemon, and while it's restricted to Stun Spore for status unless you're insane, it's available much earlier and will help in ways other than catching, and also has a better typing. But from this point on, we're going to be seeing a lot of Shadow Pokemon coming all at once, so having the Spore False Swipe combo might be a very good thing for you. If you like the idea of that, then go ahead and use Paras. Okay, good, if you'd miss 5 times in a row. But yeah, the thing with the Snag Machine recharging, so you're only able to throw 1 Snag Ball per turn, that still existed as a mechanic in Colosseum, but there was no reason why you'd ever need to do that, because there were never 2 Shadow Pokemon out in the field at once in that game. So yeah, interesting bit of trivia you didn't know, and I probably want to revive you just so you get the experience. I might as well send in the beefiest HP Pokemon I've got here. Only 2 trainers in, and I already need to go back and heal. Oh yeah, as you can see the snag icon there, so we've got 1 snag. If we were to lose the battle now, we would lose Paras. So we need to finish this off, and I'm going to False Swipe the Growlithe, but just for now, I'm just going to go ahead and chuck a Great Ball. Let's get ourselves a Fire Dog. Hopefully. One, 2, 3. Growlithe gets. Before I really get into Growlithe, I should mention that it evolves by Firestone. Unless you chose Flareon earlier in the game, but intentionally avoided using your Firestone on Eevee, the only other Firestone in XD is the one in the SS Libra. Meaning that if you used it on Vulpix already, you won't be able to evolve this Growlithe, so you have to choose between the two. Growlithe is somewhat of an interesting Pokemon. It has access to an amazing ability in Intimidate. Flash Fire is no slouch, but Intimidate is definitely better. And it gains absurd stats on evolution. Arcanine's base stat total is comparable to legendary Pokemon. However, as a Stone evolution, it won't learn very many new moves once you use the Stone. So you've got to think, how long do I want to keep this as a Growlithe? Do I want good moves, or do I want better stats immediately? The answer in XD might be a bit more obvious than you'd expect, since this Growlithe already starts with Flamethrower, which is pretty much the one thing you want from its level up move pool. Bite and Takedown aren't that great, but you have TM or level up moves for Arcanine that can replace those easily. As the XD exclusive move, you've got Charm, which actually isn't bad on Arcanine, seeing as Intimidate already makes it pretty physically bulky. Honestly, you're not missing out on that much if you evolve this thing right off the bat. The main thing you would be losing out on is Helping Hand at level 35, which admittedly is a good option. There's also Agility, but I don't think that's really worth waiting for. If you evolve into Arcanine though, the only thing you'll eventually learn via level up is Extreme Speed at level 49. Only Arcanine learns this. And it's an amazing move that there is no reason to not use if you're using an Arcanine. Now, you might have heard great things about Arcanine in later generations. Just remember that Arcanine is, in my opinion, not nearly as good back in Gen 3, because here it suffers from a very, very bad move pool, just like Entei and Flareon do. No Wild Charge, Outrage, Close Combat, Morning Sun, or Will-O-Wisp. You really don't have many other good moves available aside from Fire moves and Extreme Speed. By TMs, you're pretty much stuck with Iron Tail, Dig, and Aerial Ace for physical coverage, and that's not all that amazing. For special coverage, you're even worse off, because Arcanine is one of the few fire types that doesn't get Solar Beam in this gen. So when using Arcanine in Gen 3, it's really all about raw stats and the Intimidate ability. If you want a good move pool, you'll have to look elsewhere. Heck, even Flareon has some better options in Gen 3, at least it gets Shadow Ball. But evolved immediately, its raw stats will carry you all the way to the end of the game and beyond. That was way more trouble than I thought it would be! I mean, you probably will, but still, that was... yeah. Hopefully, I don't have as much problem with Stun Spore as that, continuing this area. I really should just go back and heal, shouldn't I? Yeah, let's do that. Let's not waste revives. I suppose we can check out what's up here. Got some stairs heading down. Sure! I say not to waste revives, and then I pick up 2 of them. Let's see what's down here. I don't actually remember this being particularly important. Hi there, Ceiling Peon! You know, it's kind of funny. You can potentially fight this trainer without battling anyone on the first floor yet, so kind of weird that you'd say there was a ruckus upstairs. Anyway, it's actually kind of weird because when I first... because I actually don't remember there being a lower floor here. Well, that'd be great if I was baton passing, but I'm not. Well, I suppose I can go for Shadow Ball now. Clamperl's probably more physically defensive than specially defensive, and I don't really care about the Clamperl anyway, so I'm just going to go for Psychic here and double target into the Octillery. Or I could get a critical and have Shadow Ball coming out at an unsuspecting Pokemon that might be resistant to it. Well, there you finally get that level you should have got in the last fight. Lantern. I'm okay with Shadow Ball going into you. Because Lantern is a surprisingly annoying Pokemon. Its stats just don't really make it seem that threatening, but it really is for some reason. Guess the really good type combination and ability. Now, I doubly don't want to use Shadow Ball on you. So, I'm just going to go for... yeah, let's just double up on the Lantern. By the way, get used to this theme. We're going to be hearing it a lot from now on. Not how you finally broken level 31. Haven't quite broken 100 special attack, though. And another Relicanth. It seems like there are a lot of these in this game. Even though Relicanth is a Pokemon that you never really saw all that much back in the original Gen 3 games. I mean, it was pretty infamous for the whole Reggie's puzzle, which I still really love that, but... I mean, it was annoying, and I fully admit that the first time I did that, I looked up the entire thing online, because seriously, you would not expect someone to figure that all out on their own. But it was really fun finding all of the Reggies when I first played. I'm still ignoring the Clamperl, because I just really don't care about it. Oh yeah, and by the way, I have leftovers on Flareon now, because... just because I've got the experience scare, yeah. I guess that fits for a ghost type, but still. And it is pretty scarily broken in Gen 6. But, yeah. I have that on Duskull now. You're gonna double up the residual damage there, I see. Actually, I feel like the Whirlpool would just override the Clamp. They're both the same type of move, basically, so... I think you can only have one of those active at a time. And yeah, didn't need Shockwave, obviously, because, well, Shockwave is, again, Stab Psychic is better than a super effective Shockwave in most cases. I say most cases. Because if something is weak to Shockwave and resistant to Psychic, or if something is 4 times weak to Shockwave, then it is better, but those are the only situations where it is. However, there is the TM of Thunderbolt in this facility. No Sparse is ready to be purified. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that. So I can finally stop having Shockwave, because Shockwave is kind of a bad move, except in double team situations. So yeah, these must be where they were keeping the Shadow Pokemon, which again is pretty disturbing. There's an item here, though. Are you serious? That's Thunderbolts! You know what? When I was saying that, I was thinking in my head, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if a team of Thunderbolt was right here? Well, guess what? It was! Just like, well, wouldn't it be funny if that Abra had Fire Punch? But, yeah, let's just not talk about that. But yeah, just as I was mentioning this is what I was waiting for. I could have grinded for this at Mount Battle, but then I found out that the TM was here, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, not grinding for that. So, obviously, I know that, it's good against double team spammers, but we're probably not going to see more of them now that Justy has been defeated, so goodbye Shockwave, hello Thunderbolt. Also hello you random guy there. Yeah, you plan a good long bath while you can. Yeah, the only bath you'll be getting is in jail. But, anyway, time to head on up those stairs. Hello there, Ceiling Peon. I forgot you were there. Ibsol? Ibsol. That sounds like someone typoed Absol. Oh, I get it. You're like an inverse of the other trainer. You got Plusle and Dustox. That's actually kind of nice. So my guess is that you have a Volbeat as well. Kind of wish that I had Levitate here to Fire Blast that Dustox, but oh well. Let's just, for some reason I keep thinking that Plusle and Minun have static, but they don't, so... Perhaps you'd be smart enough to actually use an electric move on Fish Slayer. Because of that, I'm just going to go for Protect just to see. Let's see if you know more about type matchups than your brethren there. Well, you were attacking Fish Slayer, just not with the move I thought you would be. And, yeah. Yay, Confusion on Dustox. That's a great move, isn't it? Dustox does have pretty decent special defense, so I don't think Crunch is going to do all that much. I don't think the Double-Edge Move Shooter is available yet. I think I will probably be teaching Fish Slayer either Earthquake or Double Edge eventually, though Earthquake is risky. Xatu! Okay, that's definitely not a counterpart to what the last person had. Well, not so much the last person I fought, but the person who was similar to you. Almost 50% there. And I'm definitely not going to do 50% on the next hit. Thank you for that. Every time I see light screen, I hear the extremely grating voice of Tate and Liza from the anime. I'm not going to even try and do an impression of it here because it would come out terrible. But, yeah. The only reason I've seen that is because that's the infamous Thunder Up. That's with light screen? Really? That's actually pretty bizarre because, again, when I was younger, I always thought Xatu was a defensive Pokemon, and then that takes that much damage even with light screen up for a Pokemon that's special attack isn't even its best attacking stat. But yeah, that is the infamous Thunder Armor episode is what I was saying. You know what, back when I was younger, I always planned to do a series called, like, Anime Busters, where I would use certain tactics that were used in the anime, like on a battle simulator, and just show what they would actually do in a real game situation. Hint, not very much. For the Thunder Armor bit, I planned to just, like, Thunderbolt my own Swellow, and just... yeah. Although what I was really wanting to do was just test out a lot of the Trainer's Choice things. The ones that were blatantly wrong and just try and show why they were blatantly wrong. Because there were some of them who were like, okay, trainers, which of these Pokemon is the best thing to battle this? And they were all just really, really flat out wrong. Oh, that's actually not a bad idea. I do sacrifice half my health for that. But against Pokemon that are bulky and would take a while to KO, that is not that bad of an idea. And I'm not getting that much mileage out of Confuse Ray, so you know what? For now, I'm actually just going to keep Curse. You know what? I would actually really like it if Yeah, it's kind of a shame. There aren't many ghosts that would actually appreciate the non-ghost effect of Curse, but Dusclops is a Pokemon that really would, so yeah, that's kind of a shame. Uh-oh, that is quad effective, and it still only did that much! Duskull's attacking stats, ladies and gentlemen. Dustox's attacking stats, I mean. Well, the names are kind of similar. And Duskull's attacking stats are still bad, so yeah. This battle is going on a little bit longer than it should be, and you don't even have any Shadow Pokemon, so I would like to get this out of the way as soon as I can. Well, there's Tailglow, finally. The animation makes more sense with the Japanese name, which is Firefly Light, which explains why Volbeat learns it. You don't have any Shadow Pokemon, and Ricky's bad against both of you. I'm just going to go ahead and switch Ricky, and I'll just finish off that Dustox. I don't want to speak too soon, but it's not like the Volbeat can really do all that much with its increased special attack. Please don't have Thunderbolt. I forget if Volbeat can even learn that, but I have a feeling that it can. Its special attack is pretty bad, but it's... I mean, that's still a... It's only 2 boosts, though. Well, it's not Thunderbolt, but it is Shockwave. And it's not even aimed at the thing that... So yeah, that's with Tailglow, by the way. Yeah, Tailglow was a move that's back in 3rd gen, which is now, wasn't all that good, because the only Pokemon that learned it had terrible special attack. And then Manaphy learned it, and we've learned the full horrors of Tailglow. Then they boosted it to a 3 times boost, and we learned the real horrors of Tailglow. Also, yeah, totally called this trainer having Volbeat, because they're an exact counterpart to the other one, which is kind of a nice touch, I admit. Yes, the one who would be receiving punishment is you! Again, this brought to you by Lame Comebacks Incorporated. I didn't take as much damage from that fight as I thought I did. You know what, I think we've done enough for the first floor of this place, so I'll see you next time for the second floor.